role, if any, should the federal government play in providing education?
Question. I mean, I feel that the federal government has a really important role to play in education, and of course we know that the principal role is with the state and with our county government and our school board. Let me just say, first of all, when I came into Congress, and since that time during the school year, I've spent at least one day every week in schools throughout Prince George's and Montgomery County, elementary schools, middle schools, high schools, spending time with students, with educators, and also with our administrators. I've met with both the school boards separately in Prince George's and Montgomery counties, with the superintendents, to really focus on, sort of drill down about what it is that they need from the federal government, and it's been quite an education for me. And one of the things that they tell me that they need is, obviously they need resources. They need to make sure that at the federal level we're providing resources that come from the state that allow them to make sure that all of our students are learning in an environment that's conducive to learning. They also need guidance when it comes to making sure that teachers are trained with the highest standards so that that is transmitted into the classroom. And then lastly, one thing that they said is they need some flexibility to be able to look at their own systems and look into their own classrooms with the students who are dealt to them to make sure that they're providing the kind of individual learning that our young people need so that we can get them prepared for that college education. I've been really aggressive in Congress in making sure that we shore up STEM education, getting dollars into our historically black colleges and universities like Bowie State to ensure that we're training that next generation of researchers, scientists, and technologists. And so I think that there are multiple needs, and the way the federal government plays its most successful role is ensuring that it's listening to school systems, listening to parents, listening to educators, and then valuing our students.
Thank you.
You have a vital role that you can play, a pivotal role in a large leadership role. It all comes down to leadership. You're the federal representative, for instance, in this county, in Prince George County, one of the highest office holders. And it comes down to leadership. I want to do in Congress just what I've done as a state legislator. I reinstituted vocational programs within our schools all through Maryland, construction trades, automotive trades, and I just believe that we need to equip our students with more, but it comes down to leadership. One of the things that I've been talking about in this campaign comes back from when I was an employer, and I went to University of Maryland to the business school, and of course they had corporations there, Howes, Wendy's, Marriott corporations. We need to get these corporations to adopt our schools. When I'm in Congress, if you want to get to me, these corporations, you want to lobby me, the best way you're going to do that is adopt one of my schools. That's the type of leadership I've provided in the State House. That's the type of leadership I will provide in Congress. Because that's what we need. We need stronger leadership. And that's one of the reasons I'm running in the 4th Congressional District. Because we need leadership that leads, not just talks or listens, but just really give strong leadership. And because we're treating roads better than we can treat our kids. I mean, we treat a piece of asphalt, they're adopting roads, we're treating asphalt better than we treat our children. So I would like to see just through leadership in the community, as your member of Congress, to adopt, like we adopt roads, let's adopt schools. Thank you.
Thank you.
My response to this is very simple. I'd love to talk about all the good buzzwords and all the educational programs that I want to support, and I am a big advocate of helping our children achieve everything that is possible in life. My high school, Terrestrial High School, just had their 20-year reunion. I went down there, I donated to the All Classes Foundation, and I do everything to give back to the community and give back to our schools so that our children can have a better future. But as far as the federal government is concerned, it is important to understand how our government is set up. We have different layers of government, and your state and your county are the governments that are in charge of your schools. The federal government is specifically forbidden from legislating with regard to schools based on the Constitution. The enumerated powers, Article 1, Section 8 of the Constitution, say nothing about education. I want to abolish the Department of Education because this is wasting our tax dollars. The 10th Amendment says that powers not delegated to the federal government are reserved to the states and the people respectively. I brought the Constitution. because you all need to see it. It's a simple 4-page document, and I want our legislators to read this document because it is a letter from we the people to the federal government. We the people are the sovereign, and we tell you what you cannot do to us, and what you cannot do is make rules regarding our school system. Let the states and the counties make the rules. Let them raise the funds as needed. Stop playing games with our tax dollars so that you can raise taxes on us, perpetuate a federal income tax system and all other forms of entitlement systems which drain us of our money-making potential, our earning capability, and our ability to provide for our families in the name of doing good. But what you end up actually doing is wasting a lot of our money. Let the states and the counties manage our schools, which is their constitutional role.
I'm a former adjunct professor, and listening to Donna Edwards, I actually agree with her. I do believe federal government does have a role. However, I believe it has to be a bottom-up approach. I don't think it has to be a top-down approach. I agree with you in that federal government shouldn't dictate that. It is actually a state and local area. Federal government has to be very careful in dealing with the issue of education. I don't know if those of you who are familiar with this policy. It's called IDEA, Individuals Disability Education Act. A great piece of legislation. The legislation is designed to help children who are at risk or with special needs. However, once you add those federal dollars and put those dollars into place, a lot of times those dollars are actually abused. And how are they abused? Children are mislabeled. Sometimes, if there are 2 children who are labeled special needs and have special needs, sometimes what the state and local school board would actually do, or actually the educators, would actually mislabel children so that they can have a classroom. That is the abuse of what this brother here is actually saying. However, like Donna Edwards, I believe that the federal government has a role, but I think it has to be a bottom-up approach. We have to listen, and we have to support you. Thank you.
Thank you.
The federal government plays a significant role in 2 areas of education. One is in early childhood education and disadvantaged children. Substantial resources there. Head Start, Title I, those kinds of programs. Secondly, it plays a substantial role in higher education. If we're going to compete in the global marketplace, we need to make sure our people get the best education they have. The GI Bill paid off big time. We've expanded the GI Bill for those veterans who are coming back from Afghanistan and Iraq and other wars, and that can be used by their children if they don't use it. We believe that's a good investment in America's future. In addition, we've expanded Pell Grants, which used to replace 70% of tuition, now replace less than 40% of tuition. Young people are graduating with substantial debt. That's not good for them. It's not good for our country. So we've done that. We've taken that action under President Obama's leadership. In addition to that, we've substantially changed the student loan program, saved millions and billions of dollars by having direct loans to students. Saves a lot, gives students more, no additional cost to the taxpayer. We've expanded aid to community colleges. 2 of my daughters went here to Prince George Community College. As most of you know, I graduated from Suitland High School just down the road, where this community college started. The third item I would talk about is the additional assistance we've given to historically black colleges in America. HBCUs are in need of and assistance. They've been neglected. We invested through the American Recovery and Reinvestment Act and other pieces of legislation to accomplish those objectives. Lastly, I want to say I too, like you, agree with Donna Edwards. The federal government clearly has a role. Why? Because the federal government wants to make sure that every child can in fact succeed in America in this global marketplace. And so we do have a role to play, but this gentleman is also correct. The primary role is at the state and local level. We need to respect that.
Thank you.